Hey, my friends, welcome back. It is a Moda day. We are doing Moda blockheads. We are doing block number 12, and this one is called Starling. It's not as simple as the one that we did last week, a little bit more to it, but very doable. You just got like everything else, you just break it down to its pieces and parts. You take it one step at a time. What we're going to do today is we're going to blend our wonderful, scrumptious Shoreline fabrics by Camille Roskelly along with some of the men's shirts. I want to take some of those colors that we've been using and start incorporating them into the Camille Roskelly Shoreline contribution to this quilt. And so what we talked about last week was that how much better it might have been if last week's if last week's block had some pink in it. You know, I still agree with myself. So I think that we want to incorporate some pink and then maybe a little green if we can figure out how to do that. And if not, then next week we'll add some green. I want to stick with this predominantly blue, green, teal kind of colorway, with the accent colors being your taupe and your pink and your green. 3 accent colors. It is kind of a, a sea glass look, and sea glass comes in a myriad of colors. I am looking up at my blocks that I have done. I'll show you those on screen. What we've learned in the past is when I'm showing myself in front of those blocks, you can see this much of my head, unless I'm on a stool. So I thought it might be best if I just put it on screen while I talk to you instead of trying to stand in front of it. You can see all of my wonderful messes behind me instead. We are not going to be working on the cutting table today. We're going to be working on the ironing station. I do have a little cutting surface there, and of course my iron. And we're adding something to the studio, into my methods and processes that we're going to be trying for the first time with this quilt. Something very simple, no big deal. But I am happy to see if it works out for me. I really want it to work out. And that's just using my little ironing mat. I just want to be able to, whenever I've got a lot of little pieces, I want to be able to iron sitting at my machine and not have to get up and down a lot. But I'll tout that message to the very last of my days that I don't really approve of the little U-shaped workstation that we quilters find ourselves in, unless you're in a really good wheeled chair. If you're leaning forward to your machine and then you're staying, squared up with the machine, but you're leaning over to iron or to cut, and then on the other side leaning over to cut or to iron, one or the other. You're moving to 3 different places, but you're squared up unless you move your chair, which you can only really do well if you're on wheels. Then you're just wearing out your lower lumbar, your hips, your pelvis, your SI joints. And as we age, those things already take a big toll. So we don't need to add to it unnecessarily, is my personal opinion, which I will not shy from sharing, obviously. So I don't have a wheelchair, and I actually like that my workstation is open. I do have a cabinet that's on wheels that I did try initially to have a workstation like what most cultures work with, and that's that U shape. And it was great for productivity, right? Because you can cut right there, you can press right there, and not have to get up and down. We do need the exercise of getting up and down, but there's enough of that. There's enough reason to get us up away from the sewing machine. So what I'm going to try to do is to use a little wool mat, a small one that I bought, on a clipboard that I can just pull over and have it right in front of me. So I'm still squared up with my machine, and it just kind of props up. I don't know how well this is going to work. Maybe I don't even include this in the video. I don't know, but we'll see. I'm prefacing it as if it might. Hopefully it will. I hope it works out, because sometimes I want to sit in here and quilt, but my legs are too tired to get up and down, and I don't want to shortchange my piecing by not having a well-pressed seams in between. So we'll see how it works. Anyway, let's get back to this week's block. This is how it looks, right? And I do love the black and white coloring that they give us. So if I stick with this outside pieces being the same background that I've been using, or the background that is from the Shoreline fabric, which I think I might want to do. Right now, I want to stick with this being a 12-inch block because there are more parts to it, and I'm just not in the mood for something tedious today. Basically, I just want to have another 12-inch block up there. I want to have another big block. So this is what we're going to do today. And since we have other 12-inch blocks that have the men's shirt background, we'll go with the Shoreline background for these corner pieces, okay? And then if we're gonna go with pink, where does our pink go? Is it gonna be what's white here, or is it gonna be our star? I kind of feel like it's our star. Right now I do. I may have to color that out. Let me see. The last project that I did was the video that was released today, and that's the Pick a Petal quilt by Jen Kingwell, which is the Quilt Show's Block of the Month. If you're not following along on that journey, I highly recommend you taking a look at what everybody's doing over on the forum, the Quilt Show's forum. There's just so many beautiful quilts coming together. And in my video that went up today, I did feature a couple of other people's work, so it's not just my stuff. There was Sherry and Jody, and also a little bonus video clip or two of some of Jody's other work, which is Black and White Monster Movies. It's a Saturday matinee series, which I think was super cool. She's doing a great job. So every once in a while, I'll have a little surprises like that for you, like the video where we, think it was this past Tuesday, where I featured my Long Armor's studio, her quilting studio that's in downtown Huntsville, and her brilliant idea of the quilt depository. So you don't have to go by during her working hours. You can drop off your quilt at your convenience because she has this wonderful depository, which is kind of a cool thing. It's such a sweet shop. So going to check her out. I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday's video because I think I saw her on Monday and I put it up the next day. I want to highlight other people every chance I get. She and I talked more about, I'm sorry, I got distracted. She and I talked more than what I shared with you guys. And so I want to do more of a video on her and show that at some point. And then also I spoke with Jody more than what I shared with you guys today. And I will share more of that at some point too. I love celebrating other people. It brings me joy. We are not in this alone, right? Anyway, my original point about telling you about all this was that right now I'm going to clean up this space. I am leaving all of my cutting surface, my big cutting table, leaving it as is. It's got my unicorn on it, my unicorn the menagerie of things that I'm putting into the unicorn quilt. And now it is, you can see it right there. It's coming together. It's a bit of a textural fiber art quilt, tiny miniature quilt. And it's a whimsical thing. It's for my 5-year-old granddaughter for all of her unicorns. And I'm doing a little bit of thread painting, a little bit of thread sketching, and a little bit of layering with some netting, different things like that. And so there's just a lot of things on this table, and I'm not touching them because after I get done with this block today, that's what I move back to. So sometimes we just got to have some messes out and about. I've been cutting my templates. So also in this video that I released today, I show where I had an aha moment. It was my first time to use freezer paper, which, like, I can't believe I didn't understand how that worked. I've heard people talk about it recently, but, in the past year that I've been studying the arts of quilt making, but I haven't done any of it myself yet. And I didn't know, I couldn't appreciate just yet how to utilize it. But as soon as that worked yesterday, I pressed that freezer paper down onto a template. I could see the beauty of it. And then my mind starts whirling like, okay, this has a lot of possibilities. Now I see the beauty. Okay, so I'm going to get this cleaned up and come right back. Okay, let me show you what my thoughts are. So if I want these outside corners to be my background, I think since I'm trying to make sure that I have enough background for the quilt, and these are going to be bigger pieces since it's a 12-inch block, I'm going to use from the Shoreline. And so if that's our outside little half triangles, And I think the other places where it's shaded, here and here, maybe I think, you know, someone might think, well, maybe those should be of equal tone or equal distribution of design or something similar in some way. So I'm saying, okay, well, that's where I put the background that I had been using. So I blend my backgrounds in this one block. So far, I'm loving the idea. And if I make my, which is what I'm thinking right now, if I make my star pink, then I like that idea so far, but I could have different, maybe pink points and this be different color, or this be pink and then this be different color. I'm not there yet. What I'm trying to figure out right now is what goes between my two backgrounds. Do I want that to be my pink? No, I don't think so. I think it needs to be something that blends the two blues. This is kind of a little bit more teal than this one. Maybe there's something that introduces some green, which I've been wanting to do. But I don't really like the scale of those three together, because this is kind of a slightly larger, not much larger. This is actually larger, just more dense. So you got to consider that, I guess. This is your larger, but more dense. This is smaller, but more spread out. And this is more dense and smaller. So you could maybe say it would work. And of course, it's scrappy. You can say it all works, but I like overthinking it. So we're going to sit here and overthink for a minute. They've got that little strip being light, but I'm thinking maybe it's dark. You know, we could work with that. I think that would be neat. I like that a lot, actually. And that introduces my green. And then maybe my points of my star are green, and then this is pink, or green and then pink. Because I kind of like just highlight, just sparkles of pink. Let's see what greens we've got. We've got some lovely greens in this line. We also have the greens from the men's shirts, but I want to stick with just using two things from the men's shirts, which is right now this background and the pink. All these different things that are green from this line. Let me see if I've got them all here. I feel like there's more than that. Yes, there is. This is the same as that. Let me look at that real quick. No, I don't like that. Okay, this has a lot of green in it. Pretty big scale, which can be lovely. All these things are our greens. Kind of liking this on our star points. And see anything that you would choose right off the bat? Let me pull the pink up here before we go any further. While considering our greens, we probably need to look at the shade of green that we have already. It's a very blue green, right? This is what's in there from one of our men's shirts. This is the only green I think that we've used. Let me look real quick. Yeah, of course, this reads like a green almost in comparison to the stark blues. So maybe it's good if we introduce some greens a little bit more subtly, like maybe something like that along with our pink, or something like that just has, you know, like little strings of green in it where you still have a lot of blue. Let's isolate those for a second and see how well they play with our pink. Let me pull these away. Okay, so if we've got a star that's in this, that would work well, that's fine. and that would work well. That's fine. I think you can't go wrong. These are all gorgeous, aren't they? Every last one of them. And then these introduce a green. This introduces a green, but it's not too heavy of a green to overwhelm the other green that's in the quilt so far. So with this one, we're making sure we introduce a pink that we've already used. So maybe in the next block, we make sure we use this green. I think I like that idea. Okay, so I'm okay putting in these more yellow greens since I'm introducing these two things from our men's shirts. Okay, so let's look what we've got. We've got this for here. We've got this for here. This for what they show in the white strip around it. Okay, so then if this is pink, then we have one of these for our star points. Or we have one of these for our middle square and then the pink for our star points. Do you have an opinion? I bet you do. I seriously want to know what you think you would do and what you think I'm going to choose. Like, tell me that in the comments. Just separate that for a second. So if this is our star points, it's going to be up against this. If this is our star points, it's going to be up against that. And either one of those is beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. Kind of like this being in this, since it has a pattern, that being the square in the middle of the star. Okay. I think that just kind of answered my question. Now, the other option is this. If this is our square in the middle, and this is, oh, I like that, and this is here, then our pink is up against that. So these are separated. They're not up against each other. They've got a little bit of pink between them. The pink does not touch either of these. The pink, how do I show this? Let me see. Pink comes out from the square and touches this, which touches that with this along the edge, along the outside corners, half square triangles. So this would be our progression. So from the center out, we would have this for the square of the star, our pink for our star point, which touches our background. Both of these are inside our men's shirts lines of fabric and in the quilt top already. Okay, so this is our square, this is our star points, and then this is the background around the star. This divides the background with the overall background. I like it a lot. That's what we're going to do. Okay, I need to mark that on here, and today I'm going to be smart and use our little letters. My little tracking system. I know you can buy alphabetties and they're nice and neat and pretty, but what I do is I use my clips and some handwritten little scraps of paper with letters on them. So I just keep a bunch of scrap letters. There's some in here, and then there's some in this other little bowl. And they're, if I lose them, I'm not going to have a heart attack. And I just use these little clips to clip them onto my groupings. Nothing against the alphabetties. I think they're fantastic, a lot neater, a lot prettier. Kind of wish I had some, but I don't mind my DIY version of them too. So before I came in here to get started talking with you guys, I took Zoe for a little walk down to the lake. And I haven't looked at my pictures or my video yet to see how everything turned out. If any of them look good, I'll make sure I'll leave those on the end of the video so you can have a little bit of a lake view today. All right, so if you remember, we were pulling from our jolly bars, and this fabric that we're going to be using is in one of the is one of the strips in the jolly bars, so I'm pulling that out. I think this strip is all that was left of the jolly bar strips in this particular design, so I may have to break into my fat quarter. I don't want to touch my layer cake. I have decided to do another sew along. I'm going to do the one with the reason that I fell in love with this other sew along was two reasons, actually. Pat Sloan and Kimberly Jolly were going to be doing it together. I thought, okay, I want in on that action. And then Pat Sloan showed this quilt design in the Shoreline fabric. It's like, okay, can I raise my hand high enough? I want in on that. There is a jolly strip of this one, so I'm going to lay that out. And then there is a fat quarter laid out right here. I'll get that pulled together in just a minute. Okay, so I got those two. I got my pink here. I need to get this one in a jolly strip. Let me find it and I'll finish telling you what sew along I'm going to do. Don't want to lose track of what I was saying. There it is. There it is. Okay, so the quilt that is going to be a sew along, and I haven't figured out just when it is yet. I may need to buy some more of this Shoreline to be able to do it too. But it's the cover quilt of one of Susan Aki and Lisa Alexander's books, and it's called Celebrate with Quilts is the name of the book, I do believe. And if I can capture it online, I'll show a picture of it on the screen while I'm talking. And then the name of the quilt is It's Time to Piece and Quilt, which is like, duh, right? It's always time to piece and quilt. Okay, the only thing I'm missing is to grab this from my shirt pile, and then we are cooking with Crisco. Hang on a second. All right, you know what I just noticed when I was putting all of my descriptive titles for my fabrics in their little swatch spaces? We didn't consider F. I didn't even notice it. It's this spot right here. It implies, let me show you. This picture kind of implies that it could be the same as this. And it could be, but I'm also wanting to consider doing something else. Because remember, this is our deepest color right here. And it would be good if it juts in a little bit. But might we want to do something else? So I'm going to hold off making that decision until we get these all cut up and we can like mock up our star and then see what we want to do. Okay, it's time to cut. Cut. Oh, and by the way, I want you to see right here, I almost made a mistake. And that's why going through the steps of like having your pattern, marking out your letters, putting your swatches with the letters, it just prevents you from making mistakes. Like this B, I had dark floral in there because I was thinking that these units would have been A, B, C. And so the middle one would have been B. But no, it's A in the middle, B on the outside, C on the inside. Little things like that can mess you up. Okay, so I need, of this fabric, I need to cut 4.5 inch squares. I'll do that and be right back. I need to do this one at a time so I don't get lost with what I'm doing. This is our A, which is our dark floral. I'm going to cut from this. I have to have 4.5 inch squares. Ooh, I hope I have enough. Let me see if maybe I should cut from the fat eighth. From the fat quarter bundle. Let me see if there's another strip in the Jolly Bar. In the Jolly Bar, this is the only one. So I need to pull from my fat quarter as well, because I have to do 4.5 inch squares, and I can't get that out of that one piece. That's fine. That's why I bought what I bought. Fortunately, I have a 4.5-inch square, so I'm going to get those cut up really quickly. I have ordered the book for the Susan Aki and Lisa Alexander's Celebrate with Quilts book, and I kind of wonder, look at this. See how there's just a little bit that's going to be scrap on here. I can get one there and then another and almost use this up and just have a little strip left. And it's probably pretty efficient. We're going to go with it. It's not the end of the world. I mean, it's only a 1/2 inch. I'm okay. It's good. So I've ordered the book from the Fat Quarter Shop, the Susan Aki and Lisa Alexander's a Celebrate with Quilts book. And when it comes in, I'll take a look at what yardage I will need. And I will order more if I need to. Or I can do a combination of the Shoreline and my shirts, like I've been doing. Assuming that I have enough I think I have enough of the shirts left over from this project. I'm just a real fan of this colorway. So when I saw that pattern, when Pat put that pattern up, I'm like, yep, I think I'm in for that. I can't even tell you anything about the pattern right now. I just know that 2 people that I follow every day, well, every time they put a video up, and are going to be involved. And that's a bonus to be involved, right? Then I like Susan Aki's work. I like Susan Aki and Lisa Alexander's work. Okay, so that's good. So I like this colorway, but I can't even tell you what the quilt looks like. It says sampler style, I believe. I believe it just is full of stars, stars, stars. I'm okay with that too. I like my stars, and I like circles and arcs in quilts. Anytime I see those, I'm going to be pretty much good to go. Almost got 2 of our 4. What do we need of our next one? Is this our A? Yes, 4.5. That's right. See, it's easy to get confused. That's why it's good to be real methodical about these things. I almost thought I was using the dimensions for B again, but no, I'm good. Anyway, so B is the next one, and it's 4-inch squares. This one's 4.5, and the next one is 4-inch squares. Okay. Okay. I'll get this done and show you. All right, I got everything all cut. I'm gonna press them and then get them labeled. I didn't label them as I was cutting them, just being lazy, I guess. Plus I knew I was gonna press them. And I am working in kind of a tight spot because I'm not working at my cutting table like I normally would, because I'm leaving all that mess intact to expedite my productivity on the unicorn quilt tomorrow. I want to make big progress on that so that I can finish it up and move back to the Mars quilt, get the quilt gifted, and move back to the Mars quilt. So I'm just pressing everything really quickly. The new fabrics, the Moda Shoreline fabrics, they're in pretty good shape, but the shirt fabrics were pretty wrinkled, so I'm just pressing those really quickly. I really should have starched them. I do have a little bit of Mary Ellen's Best Press here. Of course, these have all been washed repeatedly, so I don't really worry about them shrinking to be making them wet, after they have been cut. I'm not concerned about that. I may not have you in the best place. Every time I move this iron, I feel like the camera's moving. I'll try to be aware of that. Try to put my iron down gently. I just went ahead and sprayed everything at one time, and then I'm going to just press them. Then I'll have a nice little stack. And again, it's just pretty much the the shirt fabrics that have to be pressed. Everything else is fine. These, I did make the discernment last week when I was doing that 6.5 inch block about how much nicer it is to work with stiffer pieces when you're working with small pieces. So I get it. I get it why somebody would do that. Starch heavily. So I need to remember that whenever I'm doing small pieces. You hear my Zoe girl in here? I know you probably think, why doesn't she keep that dog on the outside since she's so noisy? Well, I don't know how much longer I have with my girlfriend. If she wants to be in here with me, she can be in here with me. I like it when she's with me. I think, though, I'm going to be getting a rug for in here so that a larger area is covered up by rug. So she's making less noise. Zoe, what are you doing? What are you doing, girlfriend? Anyway, I will get a rug in here, so a bigger rug that covers up more of the area. I just have 2 small rugs right now, 2 runners, so that mostly to soften the area for my feet. And so that whenever I'm getting up and down from the sewing machine, my chair is not marring the floor. But I need to get a bigger rug so that there's more sound absorption and there's less chance of her nails making a noise. So I have pressed everything. I'm going to show you what I've got here, and we're going to make that final decision on the F fabric. That's the only one we didn't decide on. Okay, so let's see what you can see here. You remember, it was these little F points that we need to figure out yet. And most likely it needs to be the same thing as this, but could it be a place where we could interject something that is similar to this dark blue? Let's consider that. Okay, so what do we have? We have our pink is our star point. A star center. No, oh, I cut my pink the wrong way. Silly me. This is our star point. Did I put that in there right? H is this, yes. My pink, I should have cut as 2.5 inch squares. I need H 2.5 inch squares. I don't know why I did that. I need to cut that differently, but we can use it. There we go. Okay, so this will be our points. And then that will be up against our background from our shirts fabric. Oh, you can't see that. That would be up against our background of our shirts fabric. Okay. And then all of that then migrates out to the dark. And then on the outside of that is this. So that's our progression. Okay, I like that. Everything's fine, except I didn't cut that properly. At least I didn't cut it too small, right? So now we need to think, if this, what else could we interject into here? And what we're considering right here is how this is going to play with this one. Let's look at this little beautiful stack real quick. I kind of like, I think if I was in a fussy mood, I might like to use one of these stripes, but I don't want to mess with the stripes right now. If I put a green in there, because this is not very much, that's going to be pretty small. Each one of those things is 1.5 inch, so it's what, 3/4 of an inch by the time you get done with it. It might be a nice place to put in a little bit of our yellow greens. Our greens in our shirt fabrics are kind of a blue green. These are our yellow greens. Do we want to interject more of that green? Okay, so this is really saturated, but it doesn't look like it because it's got white on the green. All right, so this might look nice, but we're talking a 3/4 inch piece, so that wouldn't look good. We could go with just this. And I feel like that's too contrasting and it would make it look like, why are there little triangles there? It wouldn't make sense. So I think I don't see anything that I'm in love with except maybe this blue. And I think it's going to be too small of a piece of such a big scale print. So we're just going to stick with this. All of that to just stick with the original plan. So F will also be our dark floral. So I want to go ahead and put my DIY alpha biddies on here before I go any further, because I've almost messed this up a couple of different times. Okay. All right. So G, we have an F, a D, we don't have a P. An E, a C, oh, there's a B, A, what am I missing? A D maybe? Let's see if I have it in here. A, B, C, E, I got, we got D, E, D, E, F, G. That says, and an H, which is fine. We know what our H is. Okay, so we need all those. Try to keep all of mine that are in the red ink all in one little thing here. Sometimes I get lazy about it. Okay, H was what? H is our taupe. Where did our little taupe guy go? He's right here. Okay, that is H. All right. A is on top, so what goes there? A is dark floral, the ones that were cut at 4.5 inch squares. And we have 4 of them. So that goes on there. Okay. B are 4 inch squares of our Shoreline background fabric. Okay. And C, it still messes me up that they did BAC and not ABC. C is our 3.5 inch squares of our shirts background fabric. That's C. Okay. And D is more of our shirts fabric, right? Yes, D. We had 8 of these 2.5 by 3.5 rectangles. Let me stack them a little bit better. Okay, this one will get turned into 2.5 inch squares. All right, what it's missing. F is our dark floral we got to cut yet. And G is our dark florals, 1.5 by 4.5, and we needed 4 of these. Okay, so there's 3 things that we needed 8 of. That's this one that's yet to be cut, this one that's yet to be cut, and then this one, D. Okay, so we're good. We got everything we need except for these 2 over here. Being organized. I didn't realize I pulled out a green G. It doesn't really matter, but I do like to keep them together. Okay, very good. Now let's cut some of our pink into 2.5-inch squares. Guys, I just stopped for a little bit to go refuel. And I watched, while I watched the catbird quilts. I normally catch Cathy's shows just as soon as she releases them, or, pretty closely thereafter. But I am a little bit slow about watching this week. But I'm glad I got to watch it before this video is edited and put up, because it's relevant to what we're doing. She did a cost comparison. And of course, there's variabilities between the cotton quilts and how you purchase them, and how, so many different aspects of this. And she admits that up front. She did a cost comparison between quilting cottons and men's shirts. And it was a really great video, because she wasn't just winging it. She did a concerted effort to do a fair comparison. She went through her evaluation and to describe how she was determining her evaluations and everything. And so she did a fair job, I think, of trying to make it equal between the two. She had a friend make one quilt and she made the other. Of course, she made the one that was through men's shirts. I was wondering, what exactly, I figured she'd already made this video, actually, and I was thinking that I just needed to go and find it. Because I was wondering just how much am I saving by using these men's shirts? And if you go and watch her video today, you'll see just how much you're saving if you're using some men's shirts. And of course, it depends on where you get them from. Of course, I bought my shirts from Unclaimed Baggage, which is here in Scottsboro, Alabama. And it's not necessarily thrifted. It's not thrift store pricing, but I got some really nice shirts, as you can tell, right? Like I got all these flowery ones, and they're men's shirts, and it's just some lovely, this and this pink that we're using right now. That's from our men's shirts that I got from Unclaimed Baggage. Well, actually, I don't remember if I got that one. I don't remember for sure if I got that one from Unclaimed Baggage, because my mother actually went to a thrift store in Huntsville and bought some shirts for me. And I will be, continuing to shop at thrift stores. The 2 thrift stores that I've been into since I bought these from Unclaimed Baggage, they didn't have anything usable whatsoever. Now they were, maybe I just went into the wrong ones. I haven't been on the prowl for shirts either. It might be because I've got plenty going on and I don't need any more. That's fine. So whenever I'm needing shirts next, or some extra fabric, or if I'm just like driving by a thrift store and I've got the time to stop in, I will do it, which is what I did in South Carolina when I was there. My friend and I went in. I think we went into 2 in Charleston. But it's a good thing to do, because she walks, Cathy in her video walks through how much fabric you actually get out of a men's shirt. Is actually more than I thought. She lays out a fat quarter piece of fabric on the back of a men's shirt. And I don't remember if she said what size it was, if it was just a large or if it was an extra large. But it's the back of a men's shirt is more than a fat quarter, which is kind of interesting. And of course, you get more than the back of the men's shirt. You get the sleeves, you get 2 sleeves, and you get 2 front panels. So you get a lot out of a man's shirt. We are 4 into our 2.5-inch square pinks. Very good. Very, very good. So I'm glad that she started doing the men's shirts. It makes me think about, how I can keep supplying myself with the addiction of quilting. Because it is, right? Like I could go into the quilt store and I could justify spending a few $100s every day. Well, you can't do that all the time. You just have to be wise about how you spend your money. That's all I'm trying to say. And I want to be able to continue to buy my Moda fabrics, my art gallery fabrics, you know, all, I always mispronounce it, Benartex, you know, the ones that Pat Sloan does, and the laundry basket quilts, and everybody's, you know, just anything in the quilt store, any brand, I want it all. Name the brand. I don't think there's one that I don't like and I could not figure out how to make a quilt out of, so I'm not trying to leave anybody out. Just about got these pinks done, and then we can sit down and put this thing together, and I am so looking forward to that part. Because Zoe and I walked down to the lake today, I'm looking forward to seeing if my new method of being able to press at the sew machine, to see if it will work for me, because I'm not looking forward to getting up and pressing and then sitting down and sewing and then getting up and pressing and then sitting down and sewing. It is good for me. It's good exercise, right? It's good for the abs. It's good for the glutes and, you know, everything, legs, all of it. Sometimes you're just a little tired. How many am I now? I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 2 more to go. I thought that was my last one. I'll be done in just a second. All done, all 8. I'm gonna press them, get them marked. We'll do the F's next. Just doing, 8, yeah, 8 1.5-inch squares on this. Smallest ruler I have is 2.5, and it's almost too small. I'd almost rather use my big one and just use a section of it, you know, which I might just do. Let me do that. I'd like to be able to hold on to it, you know. Okay, we've got A, we've got B, C, and D, and E, and F, and underneath you, camera, G, and H. And we've got instructions. We might need this for drawing our lines, and this, everything else we can leave right here. Going to the table, sewing table. First things first, I have to convert my sewing area from a unicorn quilt space over to a blockhead space. I've been doing some thread painting on a miniature quilt called, that I'm calling just right now, it's just a unicorn quilt, because it's just a gift for my granddaughter. It's supposed to have been a really quick little project, and it's not quick at all, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it and having lots of learning curves, which I'm enjoying. In the middle of that, I had a learning curve with my machine, which I think you guys saw last week, because that learning curve applied to this project too, Moda Blockheads projects. All right, this is my setup at the moment. I'm kind of burrowed in here and it feels pretty good, like I can be productive and not have to get up and down a lot. So I've got my pattern there. I've got my design board kind of tilted up on it with my ruler and my pen. Since my drawn line are going to be stitching lines, it's okay to use a Sharpie. Then I'm using my little iron, which I have on. Yes, it's green. And then I've got this little board that I just happen to have spare in my shop, and I put my wool mat on it. And my plan is that I won't have to lean over. I can pull it in front of myself right here and just press a little bit and then set it all back aside. I'd like to put something on the back of it to make it a little bit softer against the sewing machine so it's not clanking, and so I don't mar the sewing machine, especially since it's not mine and it's borrowed. So this feels good. Of course, sometimes you need this space not to be cluttered at all. But right now, it works and I'm working with it. Okay, first things first. On the wrong side of each B and C square, we draw a diagonal line. Okay, we are going to do that. Okay, C square. On the wrong side, we're going to draw some lines. Yeah, this, I do need to like watch Cathy's, the Catbird Quilts channel and see what she says about the variations of fabrics used in men's shirts. Because I know she's very discerning about what she's looking for, and she loves the gingham. She does a lot of that. Okay, these are my C's are all marked, and I'm going to remark them with the C so I don't lose track of what's what. Okay, and it was the B and C squares. Now let's do the B's. It really is important to be methodical on some of these things and labeling your pieces, especially if you're doing a whole quilt. Goodness, you don't want to mess up after you've cut all that fabric, bought it, prepared it, cut it. You don't want to, we all do it. I hope I do. All right. We got our A's and our B's. I'm going to go ahead and put the letter on the wrong side since that's where our marking is. All right, what are we supposed to do with this? We are supposed to place a B square in the top left corner of an A square. These are A squares. We're going to have some leftover fabric. A lot of this A square is going to get cut away. Hopefully it's large enough that we can repurpose it into some of the other quilts. Okay, so it said a B square in the top left corner of an A square, right sides together, stitch on the line. I can do that. Okay, move our little board out of the way. Oh, my feed dogs were down. Okay, I got it figured out. All I did was lower my needle and back up, and when I did that, the feed dogs popped back up. And it took me a minute. I had to look up some videos, and I couldn't find it. And of course, now we need to stop because Zoe needs attention. So it was pulling down. Maybe my tension is too tight. I had it adjusted for my unicorn quilt. It was pulling a lot of that white thread down to the underside. Man. Okay, we adjusted our tension. See if that changes things. Seems happier. Okay, let's do some chain stitching. Okay, so place a B, trim the seam to 1/4 inch and press the seam to the B triangle. Okay. Okay. Oops. I don't have my bigger scissors over here. I don't normally hand cut my seams, and when I have, I've not used my little bitty scissors. Okay, let's see if my little setup works. So I can press this open. See if this is still hot. It is. Okay. Open up. Nice. Okay, one done. Can you see that? Doesn't that look good? Okay, those come off the silicone pad, the iron goes on the silicone pad, and now we're working with the C squares. C squares go on the opposite corner. And the same, we do the same scenario. They go down here. Okay, Zoe, let me get 3 more seams in and we can go outside. Just a minute, Zozo. Okay, I'm gonna stop and let her out. Okay, she is properly cared for. Last time she went out, she got a little bigger and nicer treat than she normally gets. And I think she was trying to manipulate me into giving that to her again. I think that's why she was so insistent. I pulled some other scissors over here. It's not the ones I was looking for. I was looking for my Karen K. Buckley ones, but it probably even better. Like, I mean, this, who makes these? Fiskars? I like that they are spring operated. They have the longer blades, so it'll be good for what we're doing here. Less cuts. Now I am leaning. I need to be bringing this in front of me instead of me leaning over to it. It matters to me much more than I know y'all probably thinking she's just so picky. But, see, I'm leaning again because I was trying to lean over this. I need to do it here in front of me. There. Okay. Okay, all of those are done. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing here. Take off our seam allowance, cut away the waste, open our seams, and then trim. And we are trimming to a 4.5 inch block. I'm gonna make sure this is put in the right place. Oh, doesn't that look good? Oh, I love those. Yes, yes. Okay. Okay. All right, so we need to go trim these to 4.5 inches. I want to show you something. I was taken aback at first when I saw, see if I can do it this way, when I saw how that there's a black line in the middle here. I don't know how well you can see it, but I had it going from one point to the opposite point, but it wasn't running in the middle of this dark fabric. I'm like, how did I get that off? And then I was ready to make adjustments or do whatever I needed to do, but then I realized, well, it's not supposed to be in the middle because we had a smaller square here than what we had here. So we can play tricks with ourselves is all I'm saying. Okay, I'm going to leave that right there. All 4 of those blocks look fantastic. I'm excited. All right, what is next? On the wrong side of each E and F square, draw a line from one corner to the opposing corner as shown. So pretty much what I just did. Yeah. E and F, there's 8 of these. So 16 little lines. See you in a minute. Okay, that was E and F I just drew on. An E square goes at the bottom of a D square. Where's my D? This is my D. That goes there. Is that what it said? Yes. Repeat the stitch and flip method from step 1, placing an E square at the bottom of a D rectangle and an F square in the top right. Oh, okay. I almost did it in the wrong corner. Goes like that. This is why I reread things. Okay, and then the F will go up there. Do love how smoothly that glides through there. Okay, so I disconnect that and then I put the F's on the opposite side. It's going to be so pretty. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to worry about, I'm not going to press just yet, but I am going to do my trimming. These scissors work pretty good. No complaints from me. They grip the fabric pretty well. They cut through the length of the blade, and it's not hurting my hand to use them. So good job, Fiskars. How do you pronounce it? Is it Fiskars or Fiskars? I could see how either one would be right, and I could also see how it would be a regional thing being said one way here in the South, another way Northeast, and another way Midwest, and another way on the West Coast or in Europe. Does this manufacturer have products in Europe? Like, do they make some there? Or do people in other countries get these just by ordering them from the States? I don't know. These are questions that go through my head when I'm doing repetitive motions, repetitive actions. These will be great to go into my leader ender stack. I'm going to kind of separate those out. They're a little small to reuse. Okay, let's do this. Well, that must be, did I run out of bobbin? No, I don't know why that didn't stay together. I need to sew that again. I don't know why those stitches came undone. Do they not take again? Out of bobbin? It sure looks like there's bobbin in there. Nope. Yep. Okay, I gotta learn how to thread a bobbin. Okay. All right, how do we do this? Okay, that was very helpful because I learned a couple of things I did not already know. And I found my gray thread, and I have that threaded into the machine. I've got my bobbin full. One of the things I learned is whenever I am threading my needle, this dial, my go button, should be red. I should have my presser foot lifted, and that will make that red. It also opens the little gate right here. I've been opening that gate by just pressing, by temporarily lifting the foot. So lesson learned, lesson learned. I'm glad I'm switching over to the better thread. I shouldn't say better, the different thread. I do love the Aurifil, and I think it's superior in so many ways for various reasons, but it has its purposes and others have their purposes. But I like a finer thread for piecing. Okay. All right, are we gonna sew? Okay. All right, let's get that pressed open. That was our last one. And then we can put our F units on there. It's like 2 layers of stitching right there. It's not wanting to lie flat. It'll behave when I put a heavier iron on it though. Okay. So what is next? We put F on the other side. I think this is going to be a really pretty star block. Okay. More progress. Oh no, that one's wrong. Ah, it was like, why is there pink down there? I put that one on the wrong side and didn't notice it. I hope I didn't do any more that way. Gonna have to redo that one. Dad, blame it. That's the one I messed up. Oh, so I'm gonna have to recut a pink and put on there. Oh, but I had an extra pink. Remember that one? Maybe that was fortuitous. Maybe I knew I was going to mess it up. All right. How fortuitous is that? Can't believe it. Let's see if we can't do some surgery here. I couldn't do that little maneuver until I got this white clover. I need to come over here where I've got a better grip. Well, just as I was about to show you how good I am at this, I start screwing it up. Okay. go. That one is off. All right, let's put this on. So that is our wrong side. Right sides together. That goes right there. I can't believe I had sitting here just what I needed. It's amazing. Okay, all right. All right, that is fixed. That's amazing. Now we need to take this off and put it back on there. I am going to go ahead and take these over to the big iron so I can trim them over there, which means I can let her out while I do that. These get trimmed to 2.5 by 3.5. That's not great stitching right there, but it's going to have to be made to be okay. All right, I'm going to let her out. I'm going to finish pressing these and get them. These are different. Well, are they waste? I don't know. I'm a glutton for being a hoarder of scraps. Anyway, I'm going to go press these, and then I'm going to trim them and let her out, and I'll come back. And then I think we're about ready to start putting this thing together. You won't believe what I did. I don't read directions well at all, evidently, because what I read is what I did, but what I read is not what they wrote. Okay, so this is, what do they call this block? DEF. This is my DEF unit. There's supposed to be a left side and a right side to this. I made them all identical. There's supposed to be 4 like this, and then 4 that would have it line up like that, right? Which makes sense. So we would get that little diamond, that little arrow thing going on in the middle. So I cannot backtrack and finish a block tonight and get this video edited. So I'm going to finish right here, edit this video, get it up for you, and then I'm going to ask you to tune in again on Tuesday. I'll finish this block on Tuesday before I start working on the unicorn. So what I might do, since I've got these perfectly made units, is maybe I make 2 of this block, but I make it a little bit differently. I'll have to think about how to repurpose these blocks. I'll give that some thought. Maybe I just use them on the back somewhere. Maybe I use them in making the label. I don't know, but I kind of hate for that fabric and that effort to go to waste. But sorry to disappoint. But there's no pretty voila, look at what I did at the end of this. But I will show you. But we do have these beauties to look at. I think those are all beautiful together. That's the shirt fabric. Those are the 2 from Shoreline. And I mean, what's to hate about that too, right? That's shirt, and that Shoreline. You put those up together, it's just beautiful. This is going to be a really pretty little block, or big block, a 12-inch block. So, I didn't even curse. I'm so proud of myself when I noticed it. Not a foul word came out of my mouth. I just said, well, I guess I'm not going any further. I get to sit at the computer now. Yeah, I'm going to put that on the thumbnail of this video, I think, right there. I hope you guys are laughing with me. I was so looking forward to this thing because I'm loving the colors. I'm loving the fabrics. It's like, oh, I get to see it in a second. No, I don't. Ah, I'm feeling a little crazed. But how pretty would that be? Like that. Maybe that's how I use these others. I mean, that's what it would look like if I were to marry up those 4 that I did wrong. I could figure out how to use that in a block. Maybe. We'll see. But that's for another day. My friends, thank you for being here. And thank you for all the encouragement. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the instructions and the advice. Please keep it coming. That's how I'm learning. I appreciate you so much. Happy stitching. See you soon. Bye-bye.